Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for clicking on today's video, the very first day in our Advent calendar Christmas special. Oh, I'm deaf now. And this one actually worked. So thank you so much for joining us. And today we are going to be talking about, of course, our favorite show. How else would I kick off the Advent calendar Christmas special? How many times will I say that this is the perfect way to start it off with talking about the L word. We're going to do some little facts, behind the scenes stuff. Don't forget that this is the very first day in our Advent calendar and we are having a new video every single day in December, so you don't want to miss out. Make sure that you are subscribed and make sure you have your notifications on, because if you have your notifications on, you will get a notification every single day when I post the new video. I also am doing a couple of lives over the month of December, obviously, and I have posted on my Instagram those days because there's some on Monday, there's some on Saturday, and I've just switched a few around. So definitely check out my Instagram page to check out when I'm going live. So I'm going to be going through some top 10 facts because, you know, the internet loves when you organize things in a numerical list. And I'm going to be talking about some stuff that you may or may not know about the show. And hopefully at least one of these things is a bit of new information. So starting out with number one, the show actually was not originally called the L Word, and it was called Earthlings. And it also had like a tagline, like secondary title of the rituals and mating habits of the indigenous lesbian people of Los Angeles, California. And it's like, what a mouthful. So the show again was called Earthlings, and they changed this because they thought it sounded like too sci-fi. And in the original premise of the show, Kit Porter was actually not Kit. She was still played by Pam Grier, but she had this nickname, the Captain, and she had the chart tattooed on her back. I do have a picture. I'll put it here so you guys can see. And when they kind of shuffled everything around, Kit was then originally going to be Bet's friend, and then Pam Grier and Jennifer Beals kind of suggested the sister, half-sister angle, and that's when that whole character was changed again. So there were a lot of like switches around with the original show and tweaking of characters. Like Alice was tweaked a bit because Alicia Haley originally auditioned for Shane, and there was like a bunch of other people, like Erin Daniels auditioned for Bet. So I think that, you know, imagining those scenarios, like Alice playing Shane, it seems so crazy, but I guess if that had worked out, like this would seem crazy. But I think overall they pretty much nailed it. So number two, after the, you know, huge success of the first series, things were changed, and Showtime was, you know, a bit more confident in what the writers and everything were doing, and they did have a switch around, and, you know, some people were added, taken away, and the cast a lot of the time talks about these seismic changes that were going on in the front of the office. And I think Mia Kirshner talked about this in her Pants interview, where she talks about how they painted like where they all ate, the cafeteria, and they had like this wishing tree and like a big rainbow thing. And the reason that Mia decided like, oh, we should all do this together as like a bonding thing is because there was all these changes going on, and, you know, you could see a lot of the people that were added, and then there's always, you know, the rumors about who's seeing who and who's there for what reason. So it is a nice thing to think of the cast all like doing that together, because up in Vancouver, you know, they're pretty isolated. They're up there filming, and a lot of the cast was also living together. You know, in the first couple of seasons, a lot of them were living like next door and stuff. And then Kate, Leisha, Mia, and Erin were all roommates, so it is like cute to think about them all doing that. And then obviously we know that they've all remained really good friends, with Leisha and Kate being like best friends and still not only working together on Gen Q but on their podcast, which if you haven't listened to that, it's definitely worth a listen. Number 3, and there has been a lot of unscripted moments in the show, but also the cast, because they're all, you know, such great actresses, and also a lot of them are now in executive producer roles. They do have the ability to put in their thoughts and to tweak scripts, and we've heard from a lot of the people that work on the set and even guest stars and people who are going in for a season that the cast members who are executive producers do have a big role in what's going on set now on Generation Q. So in the original show, there is a lot of unscripted moments, like when Bet goes in to speak with Tina in season 2, the first episode, and Tina famously flips over the table at the planet. She actually was only supposed to like throw a coffee cup, and instead Laura Holloman like switched over the table, so that's really funny. And I think the reaction is pretty genuine on Jennifer Beals' face. There's also the unscripted moment in the she-bar kiss between Bet and Tina, where that crying was completely unscripted. And there's also, you know, the mark of the cast being involved with the script all over Generation Q. And one of the scenes that was put in due to a cast member was the scene between Alice and Rosie, where they talk about like lesbian talk show hosts. And that scene was actually added on the suggestion of Leisha Haley. So number 4, and that is showmances. There have been a number of showmances and a number of rumored showmances that have taken place on particularly the L Word. One of them was Erin Daniels was dating Eric Lively, who played Mark, and Eileen Chaikin and Elizabeth Ziff. And then more recently, it came to light that there was a little something apparently going on with Kate Menning and Mia Kirshner. So I wonder if there's any other romances that we don't know about. Number 5. There are a lot of people who probably know the first part of this, and that is there are a couple of cast members on the L Word and Generation Q that have no nudity clauses in their contracts, and Jennifer Beals was quoted as saying, "You won't even notice because her sex scenes will be so hot." And I think that was an accurate statement. So everybody kind of knows that Jennifer Beals has one of those, but also Sepideh Moafi has one of these contracts as well. And it's kind of, not surprising, because I mean, I'm sure not too many people will argue with me on this, but they are probably the two strongest definitely two of the strongest actresses on the show. They're both my two favorite characters. So, whenever you want to get that awesome talent in, if that's what they need put in their contract, you don't argue. And number 6, speaking of sex scenes, they are extensively choreographed on the L Word. Every single fine movement is rehearsed and talked through. And after they have filmed all the other parts of the scene, they also go over every single body part with a macro lens, which is an extremely close-up shot. And some of the sex scenes can take hours and hours and hours to film, with Bet and Gigi's first scene from episode 2 last season on Generation Q taking basically an entire day to film. So we know that they're really putting the hours in to make all of those scenes that are honestly some of the best choreographed scenes on the show. Number 7, this is kind of a lesser known fact, but one of the women who wrote on the first season actually later went on to write a play called Sweeping the Nation, and it was actually based on the writing staff and them making the first season of the L Word. And they actually not only wrote this play, but they put it on. And the cast of this play was amazing. You even had the Shane character being played by Sarah Paulson. So there's not really any video evidence of this. I mean, there's maybe a couple of clips floating around that I've seen, but I would have loved to have gone and seen this play, and I can only hope that someday they put it on again. Number 8, a lot of the elements of season 5 were actually based on real life stuff. So you had the characters of Dawn Denbo and her lover Cindy and the whole She Bar debacle being based on the real girl bar and the couple who owned that. You had Turkish oil wrestling, which was a real thing too. It was actually from New York, from Brooklyn and Queens, I believe. And then you also had the character of Nikki Stevens, who a lot of people say that that character was based on Lindsay Lohan, who whenever season 5 came out, Lindsay Lohan was dating Samantha Ronson. And also a lot of people have claimed that one of the people that was in contention for playing Nikki Stevens was Paris Hilton. So do with that information what you will. Number 9, Generation Q famously and controversially does not provide on-screen text translation for characters that are speaking in other languages. Now, Marcia Lewis Ryan, the showrunner, has told me that you could see my interview with Marcia. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'll link it in the cards above. And Marcia told me that the reason that she does this is so that people who do not understand those languages have to go out and find this information, that the people in those communities speaking those languages, they have that knowledge, and that it's providing connections between the people in those communities and the people outside those communities. So some people like that answer and some people don't. Number 10, the L Word actually had a website called Our-Chart, and it was supposed to be a new social media platform for lesbians.
Now, life imitates art as OurChart.com moves from the TV screen to the computer screen.
It's the first time TV and the internet have sort of come together and acted as a launching pad for a social networking site.
The central motif of our show has always been that interconnectivity among all of us.
And it was supposed to kind of be like Alice's website, and they even inserted like basically ads into the show in season 4, especially where they were plugging Our-Chart.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. You don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, I know. It's like a social networking site
For lesbians.
They started logging on and talking about themselves,
and they did a number of promotions and ads and everything. Jennifer Beals and Eileen Chaikin actually even went to like a tech conference, which if you want to see that, go and check out my latest live, and we actually watched that in it. And then my latest L Word video that's called the Ultimate L Word video, in that I show the Our-Chart promotion. And Jennifer Beals, Kate Manning, Leisha Haley, and Eileen Chaikin all were investors in Our-Chart.
I definitely will be on it.
I'm going to be all over the chart.
Yeah, I'll be on it.
I'm going to overexpose myself on Our-Chart.
It went nowhere. The site never worked. I went on it when it came out, and I don't think I ever went on it and it worked. So it was a disaster, but it existed. And also what existed was a real life chart that was top secret, and it was created by Rose Trochet and Guinevere Turner, who are writers on the show. And it involved, you know, even some of the cast members and some people on the crew and the writers. And safe to say, I would definitely love to take a peek at that. So I hope you guys enjoyed these little fun facts. I have endless amounts of facts about the L word. So let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. And of course, make sure that you come back tomorrow and every day in December for a brand new video. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out, and let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see. Leave a big like if you enjoyed the video and if you're looking forward to season 3. Make sure that you're following me on social media, check out my Patreon, check out my merch store, and as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye guys.